Hey everyone.
And hello, my organic family. Thank you for tuning in to Organic Sister. Today, we want to talk about hot topics. And today's hot topic, I guess, is urban or herbal, I should say, myths and legends. And we kind of want to just go freestyle today about some of the things that we see and hear on the internet that just literally either A, makes no sense, or two, just downright foolish to even try to attempt in your herbal apothecary. And so today's motivation was sparked by someone that came into the apothecary who had basically got some information on the internet. Now, one of the things that I would love to discuss in another episode is the benefit and the disadvantages of AI. And the reason why I say that is because AI has been a game changer for a lot of people in a lot of different industries. And I think it's absolutely a game changer in the herbal apothecary. Simply because there are so many things that predated our wisdom and our knowledge, and that's for me and Tawana, that we may have not been able to benefit from just because of that resource not being available to us. And so the benefit of AI now bringing a lot of information to the forefront is a good thing. But any good thing usually has a downside. And the downside with AI is AI has the ability to hallucinate. And when no, that's a term.
Really?
Yeah, it's an official term in AI. And so because AI hallucinates, we don't get the full truth, the full facts, and the accuracy of AI. Remember, or let me say not remember, let me just educate you. When it comes to generative AI, these language models only have information based upon what we call our knowledge base. That's what we put in. Okay. And because it's AI, Tawana, it crawls the internet and it gets information from various sources, whether it's other websites, newspapers, documentaries, the like. Mm-hmm. The good thing about it is that it can crawl and get that information. The bad thing about it, if there's erroneous information, AI is machine learning, so it doesn't know that. It doesn't have that human aspect that can verify information. And therefore, it should be used with caution. And so when we have customers or when we have clients coming in with information, I think now more than ever, we're going to have to be a little bit more proactive when we're talking with them, especially when they're coming in with things that they think are good from the internet. And so I don't want to be one of those people that assassinate everything that we learn on the internet, because much of our information now comes from the internet. And a lot of the information is good information. However, this is something that needs to be more scrutinized, because this delves into your health. And when you are looking at folklore and you're looking at urban myths and legends as it relates to natural medicine, you better be cautious. You need to be very mindful, because the last 2 weeks we've had 3 people to come in and really gently had to kind of educate them better. And see, for me, what I love is I am a hodgepodge of a lot of allopathic medicine and naturopathic medicine, and I have been able to use that as complementary medicine so that we can use functional medicine to help heal, treat, or care for a patient. And so I just kind of wanted to put that out there, Tawana, and then just allow people to ask questions, allow people to talk about it. We're doing live and YouTube, so we can just kind of go back and forth with just maybe giving information or waiting to see if somebody has a question.
One thing that I believe that is important, and yes, AI is awesome. I use it a lot, and I use it knowing what it's actually doing. It's just basically taken from a database of people's knowledge and people's input. And so for me, it's just an easy way for me to find like an abundance of different, answers. Like I'll say, what are 3 ways to, for self-care or something like that. One thing that we have to understand when it comes to herbal medicine is that the process is slow. AI is fast. So, when you're working with herbs, it takes time. And especially when you are creating concoctions and making herbal medicine, it is not a 2 or 3 day process. So if you want a good, tincture or something, yes, it's going to take 3 months, and there are ways that have been, I guess, put out where you can speed up the process, but then you have to think about the science of it all. So when you are putting something under fire to make it go faster, as opposed to, allowing the herb to sit in the oil and to infuse for months, and then now you're taking it and using combustion, you're creating a whole another element. So you have to everybody can't do everything, and sometimes you just have to go to places where they specialize in things, and that's just it. But of course AI is going to tell you, oh, instead of 3 months, yeah, you can do it, just take the oil and put it under the fire and just stir it real, gently or something like that. But then you're creating something totally different that can be toxic. So, you just have to be really careful when it comes to herbal medicine and trying to make things fast. Even we live in this fast environment. Everybody wants everything, the next day. But it doesn't work like that when it comes to herbal medicine.
One of the things I want to talk about is herbs and their function. The beauty of the herbs that we utilize for natural medicine is great, because what we work with is the constituents of the plants, the botanicals, the natural tannins, if they have it, the flavonoids, in the herbs. And those are the things that we primarily want to extract so that we get the benefit. And the beauty of, just piggybacking on what Tawana said just a minute ago, is the herbs, working, over time, over months. And the beauty of that is that herbs, unlike a lot of medicines, work on a cellular level. So when we're looking at something that's working on a cellular level, it's really looking to treat, cure the root cause. For example, you have an illness or a sickness, but it manifests itself in high blood pressure. High blood pressure is the symptom. It's not necessarily what's going on. You could learn, you have hypertension because of a magnesium deficiency, electrolyte deficiency. Some people have high blood pressure because of pain. And so if you don't have a family history of it, there are many other reasons that you can have hypertension. You can have what we call a drug-induced hypertension. And so what I love about natural medicine is that it does that. It works on a cellular level. But circling back to what I was talking about when it comes to the botanicals and the constituents in the herbs, the beauty of a lot of these herbs is that a lot of them do have multifunctional attributes to it. You can take a herb like chamomile. The primary reason most people take chamomile is for relaxation. but we do know that it has secondary attributes that may lower blood sugar. It reduces pain, and then it has some tertiary attributes, and those are very mild and minor, and so it can also be anti-inflammatory. So when someone comes in and say, okay, you know what, I want to take chamomile, but I want to take chamomile for my lupus, you know, and so it may sound good because they've read somewhere on the internet that chamomile is good for lupus, but I'm going to look at them and say, you know, yeah, we can use chamomile as what I call, I use a pyramid whenever I'm building my herbs. And for me, chamomile, for someone that has lupus, that would be a third leg. That will be something to support my primary herb and my secondary herb. And so my third herb, usually, if it's not for function, it's going to be for flavor. So, so coming in because you've read on the internet that chamomile helps with lupus, it's crazy. And we have people that come in here and do that. And so when you're trying to explain, okay, you know, chamomile is not really good for that, because I don't want someone coming in thinking that they're going to get treatment or they're going to receive a perceived benefit with just drinking chamomile. And that's just going to be crazy. So it's not that some of these internet websites are telling you erroneous information because their intentions are impure. It's literally because they're just not giving you the best information. You know, I had someone that came in earlier and was talking about their spouse had what he would consider, I guess, poor circulation, and probably, I would venture to say, maybe a little bit of neuropathy. And I think the doctor had diagnosed that, but he did not believe that's what his wife had. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. I would hope that the doctor knew whether or not it was neuropathy or not. But in the case, you know, looking at castor oil would not be, it should not be the first go-to. It should not be the second go-to, or nor the third go-to, if the patient did have neuropathy or not, you know, at that point. That's just not something that is going to be fully functional. Now, I'll go on record and say, you know, when it comes to oils, most of the carrier oils that we use, almost all of them are anti-inflammatory. But whether or not it's going to be the anti-inflammatory of choice for you for a certain disease or a certain condition, that's where you need to deal with somebody that has a little bit more knowledge than you and do a way boatload of research when it comes to something that is going to treat a certain condition. You want to?
Yeah, and that when you were talking about the lupus and the chamomile, so I think what happens is yes, chamomile is great for relaxation, you know, for helping with pain and things like that. However, pain is different in every person, and so is inflammation. And so just because someone has pain doesn't mean that you can use something that is a pain reliever.
Yes, thank you.
And you know, and I think that's where like the confusion may come from, because people will say, oh, okay, I need something for pain.
Right.
And there are tons of herbs that are known for their pain relieving properties, but everybody can't use the same herb for just because you have pain, because pain is different. Pain can be, you know, come from different sources. And so like with castor oil, you know, I wouldn't think of castor oil for something to be used for inflammation or for pain. You know, castor oil has some beautiful benefits for the hair, great for like intestinal, digestive things and things like that. But yeah, I can see where, you know, you Google leg pain or leg inflammation, and maybe castor oil may come up or something.
I
So
can't even
now,
imagine it coming up.
yeah, I mean, because castor oil, I haven't known of it being used for that particular reason. But yeah, so you have to understand that herbs have a lot of different benefits, but every herb can't be used. Just because you have pain doesn't mean that you have to go to a specific herb, because it can be for something totally different, you know.
Absolutely.
And so, like Dr. Harris said, you should definitely seek out a professional who understands herbs and who understands how to work with them, and use the source. You know, don't think that just because you read somewhere that you can create this you know, this infusion. And because someone was talking to me about cayenne, and I was telling him that, you know, instead of cayenne, like white willow bark is probably a better source for what, you know, if you trying to, you know, relieve pain, as opposed to cayenne pepper, because it's a little bit more gentler, and it'll probably help you more than trying to rub cayenne on your skin, you know. So, but of course, you know,
I was gonna burn her leg.
I tell people what I feel is, you know, a better way to do things, and I just allow people to just make their own decision, because you can't change people's mind, especially if they saw it on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, you have to kind of look at it that way, that especially with inflammation, because a lot of symptoms, inflammation is a symptom of a lot of different
absolutely.
things.
Absolutely.
So it's just, you just have to be mindful of that.
Yeah. And I think when you look at it's example, I'll say this: if someone comes in and I'm just not familiar, I can't remember, you know, hey, I want something for this. I naturally ask answers. I'm sorry, I naturally ask questions, only because I'm trying to figure out, you know, what do they need. So if someone comes in, for example, and asks me for pain, I don't just give them a blanket herb for pain. I want to know what kind of pain, you know. Am I talking about pain from inflammation? Am I talking about pain from an injury? Am I talking about, you know, arthritic pain? Because all of those pathways, all of those illnesses may have different pathways for treatment. And so it helps, because it's just like you can throw some medicine on something that doesn't work. Like someone says, I'm sick, and they throw an antibiotic. Well, you know what? Now we've become very, very smart when it comes to antibiotics. You know, so we just don't give you a blanket antibiotic. We may do a culture just to see what germ responds to antibiotics. So that's the same way I feel when it comes to pain or to anything. You know, I need more information so that I can culture it in my mind to see what particular product work with it. So if you come in and you say, you know what, I have a headache, well, that's a migraine. So I'm thinking about, okay, blood vessel restriction in the brain. And while cayenne pepper may work really good with it, you know, I could use something with cayenne pepper. But the first thing that I'm going to do, especially if it's a migraine headache, I'm going to naturally think to add magnesium for that. Because one, they said it was a headache. Two, they said it was pain. And so, you know, I'm going to hop more so to that than I would a turmeric right now. Because one, they're dealing with a headache, which means that they're dealing with it right now. And they want relief right away, as opposed to giving them turmeric, which if you go on the internet, oh my God, you're going to see turmeric as the first thing. But what they're not going to tell you is turmeric is probably one of the most hard to absorb herbs. So I'm not going to give you turmeric right away, especially if you're coming in with what we call a stat pain, something that's dealing with right now. But if we got something that, we can deal with over time, then I can do the turmeric, with black pepper and ginger and all of that. So I think that's the difference between what you're getting from the internet versus dealing with an herbalist, dealing with an apothecarist, dealing with somebody that is versed in essential oils, a healer or a practitioner and things like that. And so, I don't think we are in a society or a community where we can just do it on our own, because we can research it on our own. Just like you go to the doctor for cure treatments of illnesses and stuff like that, I think you should equally do the same when it comes to your natural health care. You go to the experts, or you go to those who have a knowledge base. You go to those practitioners who actually have a fund of knowledge for herbs and which best herbs to treat.
Yeah, and like for me, if someone comes and says, "Hey, I have a headache," so my background and knowledge is like going to the root. And so I will take time and ask questions like, okay, well, when did you get the headache? How often are you getting this headache? Is it when you're in a certain environment? Is it when you're eating certain foods? Because of course, yeah, you want to remedy the issue. However, you want to also make sure that the issue doesn't continue to come back over and over again. In order to do that, you have to get to the root of it. And so for me, I like to look at things like really holistically, and kind of break it down and go a little bit deeper into like where the issue may be coming from. And then I like to suggest not only herbs or essential oils, but different practices that you can use, different breathing techniques, even different relaxation techniques that you can use. So it's sometimes things can be treated just physically, but a lot of times it's very good to dig deeper into the emotional aspect of a symptom as well. And I think that's one advantage that you have when you work with someone who specializes in just with herbs, because people who specialize in herbs, they also specialize in the energy aspect of the herb as well, or the energy aspect of a symptom. And so then you'll get those type of that type of help as well. But it's not, everything is not always drinking a tea or rubbing an oil. Sometimes you have to go a little bit deeper and figure out why are you actually having this inflammation. Are you sitting home eating pork rinds all day long, and now you trying to fight the inflammation off? And sometimes you don't look at, like, as the person may not look at that being the issue. They just feeling the pain, like, oh my goodness, I'm in pain, I need something, and not really taking a step back and just looking at the bigger picture. So it is good to talk with someone about what you're going through, because they'll ask the questions like, okay, well, what did you do yesterday? And help you come to a better solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it bears to say or to mention that having a consultation with a holistic practitioner is key, because they're able to utilize different aspects of their interview to arrive at a plan, a treatment plan, or a care, or actually discover, okay, you know what, this one thing in your house may be the culprit to your allergies or your headaches or your skin rashes and things like that. And so what we wanted to do today was to just kind of have you guys become more cognizant of the things that you are searching for on the internet that may or may not be treatment. And so and then looking at things that are generalized as far as treatment, in this case we use chamomile, which is multifunctional, but it just may not be the herb of choice with certain things. And so be mindful of that, and find good, credible, and I think, now that I'm saying this, that may be another topic that we can talk about at another time, but finding reputable sources when it comes to herbs. How do you get your information? Because Google is good, but you need peer-reviewed journals that have done science behind herbs. And believe it or not, herbs have been researched just like medicine. In fact, it's only been like 100 years plus that we've had medicine the way that we do, because before then all we had was natural remedies. And so it bears mentioning that it's key to learning what you have in your apothecary chest is best for this and best for that. Because if you go out on the internet, there's thousands of herbs that are good for cough and cold. And so even like this year, they were like, well, how many remedies do you have? And I'm like, well, there are so many herbs that treat cough and cold. So it's one of those reasons why I thought, what, today we need to just jump on and say, let's just be mindful of what the internet is saying in the way of the herbs that we're taking and stuff like that, because there's too much out there that's supposed to cure herpes. And I'm looking at the herbs and I'm like, really? If it was just that easy, we would do it. But anyway, I digress. And I'm probably a little cynical. So I guess, do we want to look and see if we have any questions that we can take right before we leave?
Let's see. No one has any questions. I don't see any questions.
Okay.
But you can always type it in if you look at this video later on today and something comes to mind. Definitely put it in the comment section.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are listening via YouTube, any comments, let us know. Consider subscribing. But if you have general questions that we can answer, please let us know. We're here in the apothecary Monday through Thursday. We love to answer questions. We love to even get feedback. There are a plethora of herbs that we don't even know about. There's essential oils that I'm not even aware of, but we feed off the energy that you give us. So there may be things that you guys have that we don't know about. Feel free to even say, hey, have you guys ever done this for, rashes and stuff like that? I literally had to come up with a cream. I had a family member that is dealing with molluscum contagiosum. And if you know anything about that, that typically takes 6 to 18 months to go away. And that's a rash, that may be very visible for a long time. And so, learning, herbs that help with certain skin rashes and things like that is why we're here. We're not just here for that, but, everything in time and in season may help certain conditions and illnesses.
And don't be afraid to choose holistic medicine like herbs and things like that, because you can still use your prescription medication along with the herbs and things like that. So don't be afraid to use plant medicine, because it's very simplistic. It's just about drinking. You can drink herbs every day, just like you drink a Coca-Cola or a Sprite. Instead of just drink your herbs. Let's see. What herbs can help lymphatic drainage? So for me, lymphatic drainage, I would do fruit. I would do melons. I would do hydrotherapy, so sauna treatments. I can't really think of any specific herbs for lymph because I like to use fruit. Do you know what type of herb?
Yes, I actually prefer herbs when it comes to lymphatic drainage. The herbs that I use are herbs that are going to be considered carminative and purgative herbs. But I like dandelion, I like yellow dock, I love white willow, and I like those topically on the skin in a wrap, and then manual lymphatic drainage massage along with that, and that's key. I remember just I think it was in 2021, we had a gentleman that had a serious bout with COVID. And what came out of that, I think he was in the hospital on a vent for like 2 months. But what happened subsequently, because, COVID does affect a lot of people autoimmune, and his autoimmune system went haywire, which resulted in him having all of these lesions, and more specifically a lot of swelling, and it was lymphedema swelling. And so for months we did a lot of calendula, dandelion, arnica, yellow dock, and I won't give you my whole thing, but all of those things were very helpful. And before the channel got hacked, I no longer have, as you guys may be aware of, I no longer have that channel, but we kind of filmed that and followed him. But in one session, we got about 8 pounds of water off of him, and that was just, I mean, it was just amazing. But
And I guess it's important too to know where, like what part of your body are you looking to drain? Because you have lymph nodes in all different areas.
Yeah.
So what part of your body are you looking to help?
Yeah. And make sure you go to a trained person. I think in the state of Georgia, you have to be a licensed massage therapist and or I'm trying to, obviously an OT can do it, but there's some certifications, I think, for a lymphedema specialist, but most of them are going to be OTs.
Underarms, okay. Well, so to me, I don't like underarms, but I talk a lot about the underarms because of the natural deodorant that I make. And one thing that is important is to allow the underarms to sweat. And so look at maybe the deodorant that you're using. So if you're using deodorant that has aluminum, then you definitely want to stop that, because the aluminum blocks your pores, which can create the backup of sweat, dirt, and so that's the one thing that you want to look at. And then choosing a natural deodorant, one that has something that is going to help with allowing you to bring out the dirt and the sweat and everything. Magnesium is awesome for your underarms too. Just the first thing would be, what are you using under your arms that is creating the blockage, that's causing the lymph blockage. So, and I have a natural deodorant. If you're looking to transition to a natural deodorant, which I think everyone should be removing aluminum based deodorants from their living regimen, I do have a natural deodorant that's available. And you have to understand that once you use a natural deodorant, you are detoxing. It is a detoxing process, because you are allowing your underarms, your lymph, to get rid of and purge all that has been blocked. So yeah, there may be a little bit of irritation that happens, and it's something that you have to take time with. Detoxing is a process, and it takes time to remove all of the stuff that has been built up. Yep. So if you are, who's that? Oh, Carice. I'm like, who is that? Carice, are you using the natural deodorant now? But yeah, so lymph is, I really enjoy the topic of lymph. I've been kind of studying it because it amazes me just how you can free your body from a lot of symptoms just by focusing on the lymph. And that's why I say fruit, because a lot of the research that I've done, fruit seems to always pop up, like melons pop up a lot when it comes to talking about removing lymph, cleansing the lymph. Yes, I am now just started back. Okay, so maybe that might be what it is that your body is in a detox process. If you're just starting the natural deodorant again.
I would just add this as a caveat. If there's some swelling underneath the arms to the point that you think it's lymphedema, or you believe that it's lymphedema, or you've been told that it's lymphedema, then I would be concerned as to whether or not there's a blockage, and I'll tell you why. One of the reasons I think, Tawana, and especially me, I've always advocated for the last 15 years about deodorant and antiperspirant. Deodorant is good, antiperspirant is not. Simply because antiperspirant blocks sweating. You have lymph nodes underneath your armpits, and these are the lymph nodes that get clogged and what causes breast cancer. And so you have to be mindful of that. So if someone comes to me right now that says that they have lymphedema underneath their armpits where they usually put their deodorant, the first thing I would say is, when the last time you've had a mammogram? Because that's something that needs to be looked at, because we don't naturally swell underneath our arms. And so that's the first thing that I would think. And seeing that you are already using a natural deodorant, that's great, even if you jumped off of it for a while. But even, I'll just caution, even just the natural deodorant at this point may be a problem. If your lymph nodes are blocked, it doesn't matter if you're giving it something good, if that makes sense. So you can be giving it life, and it's still not going to produce life if those lymph nodes are blocked. That's the one area probably I would caution and say, go to the doctor, because you should not normally have blocked lymph nodes there. That would scare me big time. Caprice,
She says that she tried fruit, but she has a vitamin C allergy. So when she has too much citric acid, she breaks out in hives.
Okay, then I would go the herbal route. Definitely the herbal route, Caprice. But more specifically, let us know that you're actually having edema under there, versus, sometimes I remember going to the doctor. I promise you guys, this is the truth, and I'm going to end. I remember going to the doctor, and I thought I had a problem with my lymph nodes. And my doctor said that was fat. And she said it just like this. She said, "Oh no, that's fat." And so I don't know what size you are. So, but I remember thinking that I had swollen, because it just caught me off guard. And she was like, "No, that's fat." And I was like, for a while, I thought, and I'm not going to even go into what I did to find out that it was in fact fat, because I didn't believe her. Because I'm like, it was just like one day I put on my deodorant, and I'm like, where did that come from? And I just knew, I had swollen glands, and I just know too many people with breast cancer. So I went down a rabbit hole for that to only find out that it was in fact fat. So hopefully,
What is no swelling? I'm just
hypervigilant. I think is what she's trying to say. That's a good thing. Hypervigilant. Yeah. Come in and do a consultation with Tawana, and I think that would be a good deal, and she can rule that out.
Yeah. Yeah, always check with your physician when you have any issues. The way you say you went to the, I remember when I was thirsty all of the time, and so I'm thinking,
Diabetes.
yes. So I went to the doctor, and he's like, "You're not diabetic," and it's just because it is in the family, and so when you some things are in your family, and so you just automatically feel like that's what's happening to you. So it's always good to go to the physician just to help with clearing your mind and getting sanity on whatever the symptom is. So
Okay.
yes.
All right.
That is our live today. Just kind of talking a little bit about herbs. If you have questions about anything, again, put it in the comment. And if you will have a topic that you think would be something good for us to discuss, please put that in the comment as well, because we're open to talk about things that are important to you. So,
Thank you guys so much for even just tuning in with us. As Tawana said, if there's any questions, any comments, or any topics that you guys want us to talk about, please let us know. We love this weekly or whenever we can pop on and talk and share the knowledge that we have, or actually get feedback on some things that are trending now that we don't even know about.
yeah.
So thank you, my organic family. Please consider at least commenting, subscribing. Let that just be whatever it is you want to do. I hate even doing that, but I
Please
do
like and subscribe to our channel. She's not going to say it, so I'm going to say it.
But thank you so much for joining us, and have an amazing day.